Hello, how are you doing? So my name's Richard. Welcome back to my channel over and over and over again, which obviously features everything to do with Arsenal. This is the third In Conversation show that I'm doing, and tonight I'm delighted to welcome a player who began his career in the Arsenal youth system back in the mid-1990s and went on to make nearly 400 appearances in his professional career, spanning about 14 years, I think it was. It's a real pleasure to introduce tonight Isaiah Rankin to the channel. How are you doing, mate? You all right?
Cheers. Thanks for having me. Yeah, nice to be on.
No problem at all. It's a pleasure to have you on. Basically, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do so. And if you've got any questions at all for Isaiah tonight while we're on, just drop them in the box as well, and we can go through them as well as we go through it. And if you like this video, please give it the thumbs up as well. If we start at the beginning, then Isaiah, obviously, was Arsenal always your club?
Yes, Arsenal was always my club. But where I grew up in Enfield and Edmonton, it's mainly the boys from down the road.
Yeah, but you managed to avoid that, which is good.
Well, when we get into it, I was in their academy for a few years. And wore my Arsenal kit, and they tried to get me to put on the Spurs kit, but my mum said that's the kit he wants to wear, so unlucky.
Brilliant. I bet that went down well, didn't it?
No, it didn't go down too well.
I mean, obviously, being Arsenal boy, I mean, what are you making of the current side sort of under Mikel Arteta?
It's been good. It's been refreshing. It was a change because we were going down a dark place under Unai Emery. It wasn't good. It wasn't good to watch. Since he's come in, he's changed a few things in the changing rooms, the whole club, with the fan base. He's give everyone a lift, and I'm looking forward to see where he can take this squad. Yeah,
it's looking positive. I mean, I know Saturday's game wasn't the greatest result. I mean, what did you make of the performance at Manchester City?
If Arsenal take their chances, it's a different game. It's a completely different game. But, going to Man City, Anfield, those sort of places, it's going to be tough. You're going to have to withhold some pressure. And I thought Arsenal did okay, but I really wanted them to push on a bit more and sort of go for it.
Yeah, I thought the second half, we didn't really put them under enough pressure, I didn't think. When we were 1-0 down, we should have really gone for it the last 15 minutes. And maybe the substitutions come a bit late. I don't know what you felt about it. Getting Lacazette on maybe a bit earlier might have worked.
I was hoping that he would have changed the formation. Maybe change to a 4 at the back, put an extra one in midfield, and then push the Aubameyang and Saka further up the field, so we could put them under a bit more pressure instead of trying to control the game. But I think there's a lot of positives to come out of it.
Yeah, obviously we've got Thomas Partey to really come in, haven't we, and make an impact hopefully over the next few months.
Yes, it's a good signing. We need bodies in midfield. We need extra legs in midfield to get around the park, to mix up the play. I think we're just short with the bodies and the quality in midfield.
Yeah,
I would have liked one more player, more of a creative player, if we're not going to play Ozil. But it's not to be, so we're going to have to deal with what we've got. But going forward, I think we hopefully, fingers crossed, we can get into the top 4.
Yeah, I mean, that's got to be the aim, hasn't it? And, we've not had a bad start, really. I know to say it was a disappointing result on Saturday, but, I mean, 3 wins out of 5. When you look at how everybody else is doing, all the other big sides have been struggling as well, haven't they? So we haven't done too bad in the circumstances, I guess, and just try and push on from here, really, like you said.
No, when you look at the fixtures, you think can we get 3 points there? And then you look, I would have liked to have picked up maybe an extra point out of the Liverpool and Man City game, and then that would have been a perfect start.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, like you said, if we took a couple of them chances on Saturday, we might well have got a draw out of that game, wouldn't we? Which would be good. I mean, just going back to yourself, obviously your own career. I know you said you started off in the Tottenham Academy. How did the move to Arsenal come about then?
So basically, I think I was about 12, and it came to the end of the season. They offered me another year of schoolboy forms, but I wasn't really happy. I was playing still with my local side. And then when I was going to games, I wasn't really playing. So I just went back to my local side and started playing and enjoying it again. And a few clubs came sniffing. And when I got offered to go into Arsenal at London Colney for 2 weeks, I jumped at the chance.
And obviously you must have impressed them in that 2 weeks then.
Yeah, I was nervous, really, really nervous, because the one thing about Arsenal, when you go to London Colney back then, as soon as you walk into either the canteen or the changing room area, you're all mixing together with the first team players and everyone. So it was nerve-wracking, but once I started the 2 week trial, it was really good for me.
So that would have been sort of early 1990s, wouldn't it then?
Yeah.
But obviously Arsenal had a great won the league in 91 and whatever. So must have been there must have been some players there that you met quite early on then.
So you know, you see obviously the likes of Tony Adams, David Rocastle, Michael Thomas, Kevin Campbell, Paul Davis. You know, the list goes on. Just being able to, you see them, those faces that you chant their names in on the terracing, and then all of a sudden you're either sitting on the same dinner table or you're walking past them in the corridor.
Yeah, I mean, obviously most of them players that you mentioned there, they all came through the same system as well, didn't they?
Yeah, that's the good thing. So my family are big Arsenal supporters, so they told me about the path. Certain clubs, there's no career pathway. There's no pathway for players. But one thing about Arsenal, there's always a pathway for the young players coming through.
Yeah, and it's still happening today, isn't it? With a lot of the young guys that are playing in the team now.
Even more so today, I'm really happy to see all the boys coming through. That it's a connection with the fans as well.
Yeah, definitely it is. Definitely is. I mean, was you in the youth team squad that won the cup in '94? Did you play in that?
Yes, yeah, I was under 16, but I was playing in that FA Youth Cup winning squad. Yeah, I played in majority of the rounds, or were involved in majority of the rounds, but I wasn't involved in the final.
Did you still get a medal though?
Yes.
Oh, brilliant! Oh, well, at least you got the medal for it. Then I mean, you probably deserve one if you played in the earlier rounds as well. I know it was sort of about 1996, wasn't it, that you got sort of pushed into the first team squad? Is that right?
Yes. Yes.
I mean, that was obviously at a time when the club had a couple of changes. Obviously, Bruce Rioch had left, and Arsene Wenger had sort of came in, didn't he? What was that like at the club then? Was it quite a difficult time with a change of manager and stuff?
Well, for the young players, it was just continue, because the first team were the first team. There was a few things going around about the change of manager. Obviously, Bruce Rioch got sacked. There was obviously well documented about Ian Wright and Bruce Rioch, how they didn't see eye to eye. But then Arsene Wenger came in later, I think, a few months later. And then the rest was history, really. It was unbelievable how he just changed the whole club.
Yeah, no, it was. I mean, it very quick changes as well. He made, didn't he, in a very short space of time. I mean, obviously, you were named on the bench a few times that season, wasn't you? Arsene Wenger's sort of first season. You got on the bench a couple of times towards the end, didn't you?
Yeah, I was on the bench 5 or 6 times. Didn't get on, so I was thinking, oh, it's not going to happen for me.
Yeah.
But I was just kept plugging away, and then I think I had to go on loan to show that I could hack it in the league, and then came back, and then I was fortunate enough to get the call to be in the first team squad.
Was that Colchester you went on loan to?
Yes, yeah, I went on loan to Colchester for 3 months. I had a chance. Well, Arsene Wenger wanted me to go to Germany for 3 months, but I wasn't too sure about going to Germany back then, and I didn't want to go off the radar, so I still wanted to be seen. So I decided to go to Colchester for 3 months.
What was that like then? It must have been a bit of a culture shock, wouldn't it, going from Arsenal to Colchester?
I loved it. I really enjoyed it. Completely different, toughened you up. Back then, defenders could tackle from behind. You got elbowed off the ball, and so you really had to have your wits about you, and you had to grow up really quick.
Yeah. I mean, and obviously you came back to Arsenal and you actually got your debut in the first team, didn't you? And that was a baptism of fire, wasn't it? Away at Tottenham, wasn't it? Your debut. Yeah.
So I came back from Colchester on Boxing Day. My last game was Boxing Day. So I think the Tottenham game was the 28th, and I was just sat at home. Hadn't had much of a break, so I was sat at home with my mum just watching telly. I get a phone call from Pat Rice saying I have to be at the team hotel straight away. So I'm thinking this is a wind up. What's going on? So then he phones me back and says, no, you need to be here. Get your stuff, get everything, your match gear. Come to the team hotel down in Waltham Abbey. Once I get to the hotel, I realise there's a few injuries, and one of the boys were injured, not feeling too good. So there may be a chance of me being on the bench.
Wow. And then obviously you actually got on as well, didn't you, later on in that game?
Yeah, no, it was great. Saying where I could have walked there from where I live, I could have walked to White Hart Lane. To look to my right as you come out of the tunnel in the away section, and you see your family and your friends, and you think, yeah, this is what it's all about.
Yeah, I mean, what did it feel like when Arsene Wenger said to you, get ready, you're going on, kind of thing? What was that like?
I couldn't get my gear off quick enough. I just wanted to get on and try and help the team, because I think it was 1-1 at the time.
Yeah.
And late doors, and as I'm getting ready, I can hear some of the senior players, you can be a hero today. You can be a hero. And I was just like, just get changed quickly, get on there.
Yeah, no, it must have been amazing. I mean, I seem to remember that was a game where I think there was some kind of work going on at White Hart Lane, so there was a reduced capacity, and they actually screened the game at Highbury as well. And I remember watching it there. So I remember sort of seeing you come on, and like all Arsenal fans, we love it when someone's come through the academy and gets in the first team. It's great, isn't it, to see that happen? And I think we all thought that you might have gone on and maybe got a few more games, but it didn't quite work, did it, after that for you?
No, it didn't quite work. That the following season, pre-season, I went away with the first team. We went away to Austria and Germany, done well. But when you look at the players in front of you, you had Anelka, Dennis Burkham, Ian Wright, John Hartson, Chris Kawamia. And you think, okay, but I still wanted to. My aim, I set myself targets while I was at Arsenal each year. So when I was in the youth team, can I get into the reserves, or can I get a squad number? Can I train with the first team? And that season, I thought, okay, there's players ahead of me, but all I want is to train with the first team every day and then go from there.
Yeah, and obviously you got a little bit more than that as well, didn't you? Actually got some game time as well on top of that. I mean, when did you realise that you're probably going to have to leave Arsenal then to get regular football?
Arsene Wenger pulled me into the office and had a chat with me. Said I could stay if I wanted. There was 2 offers came in, and they had accepted one. He said I could go and talk to the club, which was Bradford City. The other club was Reading, I think, was at the time. So he said I could stay, but I was like, well, am I staying to play in the reserve? Am I staying to compete or get a chance here and there? Obviously, as I just mentioned, the players in front of me, it was highly unlikely that at that time I would have broke in. So I went and had a chat with Bradford City, came back, spoke to Arsene Wenger again, and then I think it happened within the space of 4 days, I think, and then it was done. My mind was made up to go and play for Bradford City in the Championship.
I mean, what was that like? Because obviously that first season you were there, they got promoted, didn't they?
Yeah, the first season was excellent. On the field, it was excellent. Got promoted on the final day, beating Wolves. But during the season, we had some really good team. We had Stuart McCall, Peter Beagrie, those sort of players, experienced players that helped you along. Got promoted. It was excellent. Then the following season, during pre-season, when we were looking at fixtures for the Premier League, the week before the start of the Premier League, I pulled my hamstring and was going to be out for like 2-3 months. So that sort of set me back a long way and knocked my confidence.
So you must have missed then, obviously, when Bradford came to Highbury. That was quite early in the season, wasn't it? You must have missed that game then, did you?
I missed that game, but I was there. I came down and watched the game. Sat with the boys, whatever. Yeah, but I watched that game because Thierry on replay.
Yeah, I think it was 2-0, wasn't it? I think Arsenal won 2-0.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, at the end of that season, of course, there was that famous game against Liverpool, wasn't there? Where obviously you guys at Bradford won to stay up. I mean, you played in that game, didn't you? What was that like?
Yeah, I played in that game. I came on and had a chance to make it 2-0. Just dinked it over Vesterveld, and it just went wide of the post. But Liverpool that day needed to win to qualify for the Champions League, was it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I think so. And we needed to win to stay in the league. So we won. We won 1-0 with a David Weatherall header, which was good.
Yeah, I mean, I bet there were some celebrations after, wasn't there, that night?
Yeah, we had 2 years on the trot. We had some great celebrations. The promotion to the Premiership, and then to stay in the league is unbelievable.
Yeah, no, I can imagine. I mean, was it the season after then that you went out on loan a couple of times, didn't you? Was it Bolton and Birmingham, I think it was. Is that right?
Yeah, I think I went out on loan to Birmingham first, towards the back end of that season, to get game time, and really good. Really enjoyed it. There was an inkling that I might stay at Birmingham under Trevor Francis, but I don't think they could sort out a deal in the summer. But either there, I thought it's either I stay at Bradford or I move to Birmingham, but it didn't materialise.
Right, okay. Well, what about the Bolton move? Was that the season after then you went to Bolton?
Oh, yeah, Bolton was the season after. That was at the start of the season. Bradford manager had left. So a new manager came in, and then I went to play at Bolton under Sam Allardyce.
But that was good, wasn't it? Learning some of Allardyce. He's a experienced manager.
Yeah, no, he was good. He was really, really good. The analysis, the tactical stuff behind the scenes, he was really, really good.
And obviously, you went back to Bradford after that, did you again?
Yeah, I went back to Bradford. Realised I wasn't going to play. They were struggling. Team had changed, new manager again. I think they must have had about 2 or 3 managers that season. And then I got a move on transfer deadline to Barnsley.
Barnsley, yeah. I mean, that didn't seem to really work out, did it? Not that well for you, Barnsley.
Barnsley was good at the start. It was really good. Nigel Spackman signed me and a few other young players that I knew that had come from other clubs who I'd played with while I was at England youth. We all joined together. Lee Crooks came from Man City. Kevin Dixon came from Leeds. There was a few of us on that day. When I joined Barnsley, we were in a relegation battle. So that season we stayed up. I scored one of the goals to beat Tranmere to stay in the league. And then following season, didn't start so well again. Nigel Spackman got the sack. Steve Parkin came in. That's when it started to go downhill for me. Didn't really see eye to eye with him and his methods. And then good John Torderson came in, the Icelandic manager who was at Stoke, came to Barnsley.
I mean, I read a great story actually. I don't know if this is true. You can tell me. I think you was on loan at Grimsby when you was at Barnsley, and you scored against Barnsley for Grimsby. And did you do some sort of celebration that he didn't like the manager? Did that happen?
So basically, I'll tell you what happened. So not a lot of people have heard my side of the story. So Barnsley have said, I've started the season really well, scored goals, stopped playing in the team. The manager comes to me and says, I want you to go on loan. I was like, why? He goes, well, I want to bring in 2 players and then you'll come back. I said, well, you want to bring 2 players in my position, but then you want me to come back. Don't sound right to me. So,
No.
So then I decided to go to Grimsby, decided to go, enjoyed it. When I've looked at the fixture list, I've seen Barnsley at home. So I phoned the club and says, if it's true what the manager said, I don't want to play in this fixture.
Could you go back?
I refuse. I don't want to play. Yeah, I don't. He says he wants me back, so why should I play in the fixture? That's fair enough. On the Monday, didn't hear nothing back. Tuesday, didn't hear nothing back. On the Wednesday, on my day off, I drove into Barnsley to see the manager. Wasn't there, wouldn't talk. I spoke to the assistant, which was Noel Blake, and he said, well, he don't know nothing about the agreement, so you're good to play. And I was like, okay. But at the time, we had a tight-knit group. So friends were Gary Monk, who is now the Sheffield Wednesday manager. Craig Rocastle was there. So we were all tight. And the word got back to me. The manager said, he can play, he's not a danger. Wow. So on the Thursday leading up to the game, I've gone in, trained well. I'm pumped for the game. I'm angry.
Yeah.
So we played the game. Grimsby beat Barnsley 6-2.
Wow.
I scored 1, set up 2. So I was getting abuse from the Barnsley fans. So that's why I celebrated. So then at the end of the game, obviously I had still had friends at the club and in the changing room and whatever. The boys were told not to speak to me, which I found funny.
Wow.
You know, I got abused from the fans. Even though I didn't do nothing wrong, it was the club's fault. They should have put in the agreement he can't play. I had to write a letter of apology to the club saying I shouldn't have celebrated like that, which was wrong. Which I look back now and I said I shouldn't have really done it. I shouldn't have really wrote the letter of apology. I'm there to play. I'm on loan to another team. My job is to score goals or create goals, and that's what I did.
Yes, I mean, was it after that they didn't want you back after that then because of that, or was you going to leave anyway?
They banned me from coming to the training ground, to the club, everything. The only time I was allowed to the club was after 6 o'clock when everyone had gone to sign to sort out my deal to go to Grimsby.
So did you sign for Grimsby permanently then?
I signed for Grimsby to the end of the season.
Right.
Signed for Grimsby to the end of the season. Enjoyed it thoroughly, but unfortunately the team got relegated on the final day of the season, and there was a few of us that they really couldn't keep. So that's when I got the phone call from Martin Allen at Brentford and decided to come back to London.
I mean, obviously the move to Brentford seemed to go really well. Was that maybe the best point of your career, do you think, when you played your best football?
Yeah. I loved it there. I was back home in London. You've got a manager that understands players, can interact with different people, different styles, and it just made you feel welcome.
Yeah, I mean, you was there for 2 or 3 seasons, wasn't you, at Brentford?
Yeah. I really enjoyed it. I didn't really want to leave. Didn't want to leave. Under Martin Allen, it was really good. I enjoyed it. Scored goals. Played in loads of different positions. Obviously, played through the middle, down the left, down the right. And when Martin Allen decided to leave, the squad then decided to go elsewhere, players to go elsewhere. It didn't help that we came third 2 years on the trot and lost in the playoff semi-final 2 years on the trot. So the team broke up.
Yeah, I mean, where did you go after Brentford then?
To be fair, I went back to Grimsby for a year. Got promised signings and team, but it didn't materialise, and then left after a year.
Was it after Grimsby you went to Crawley? Was that right? Was that next after that?
Yes.
I mean, another story.
Well, I went to Stevenage for 6 months, and then I went to Crawley.
Oh, okay, yeah. I mean, there's a story again from your time at Crawley. Again, I don't know if this is true. Apparently, they were deducted points because they didn't register you properly. Did that actually happen like that?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Wow.
It's ridiculous that a professional club don't register the players properly.
Was it only yourself that wasn't?
They were lucky. I think there was 2 of us. But I think one of them, the other boy, didn't play, and so it's one of those stories that you just scratch your head and think, how can a football club not register their players properly?
Yeah, it seems mad, really, doesn't it? I mean, did that cost them like relegation or anything like that, or did it not make much difference?
No. To be fair, we were there or thereabouts, but towards the end of the season we just tailed off. So yeah, we missed out on the playoffs.
Okay. I mean, where did you go after Crawley then? Where did you end up then after that?
Oh, I think after Crawley, I went to Hendon.
All right.
So yeah, I went, or was it Ashford? Hendon or Ashford, one of them. Just to keep fit, I went to Ashford to play under Jamie Lawrence, who used to play for Leicester City.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
So I'm good friends with Jamie. Jamie got the manager's job. So he said, while you're not playing, come and keep fit and play for me, and which I did. I thoroughly enjoyed it, helping the younger players come through, helping the team. And then season after, I spent a couple of seasons at Hendon Town.
Right, okay. And then what happened after that? Then obviously, were you still looking to get back in the professional game then at that point, or was you looking at winding down?
No, yeah, I was thinking the body can't take it anymore.
Yeah.
So I was still playing, kind of enjoying it, but I was starting to look at other things after once you stop playing. Then.
Yeah, I mean, what did you do then when you stopped playing? Did you go into different business or something? Or did you stay in football?
Went into started doing my coaching badges, and started coaching and going down that route.
Are you still doing that now? Are you still coaching now?
Yeah, I'm still coaching now. I work at a private football academy that helps youngsters bridge the gap between grassroots and academy, and yeah, it's going really good.
It must be good to see helping the kids come through as well, mustn't it?
Yeah, no, it's brilliant.
It.
Yeah, it's the next best thing. Sometimes you get too involved in the games, but it's the next best thing to help the kids come along and coach. I've done a few bits had a few job offers, Leeds United, Barnsley, Bradford, but it just didn't work around my family routine.
Yeah. So obviously you're back in London now, are you?
No, I'm still up north. I'm still in Leeds at the moment.
Oh, all right. Excellent. Oh, they're playing tonight as well, aren't they? Just up the road.
Yeah. It's not far, to be fair. Yes, it's the city's buzzing at the moment to have the team back in the Premier League.
Yeah, and they're playing well as well, aren't they? They've had a great start.
Yeah, they're a good side. They're a very, really good side. Play with lots of energy and quality.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. Just a couple of quick questions for yourself. What was your best moment in your football career?
Making my Arsenal debut.
Yeah, can't be enough, especially against Spurs as well.
Shadow of doubt. Yeah, where I grew up, the friends and family, all Arsenal supporters, but a lot of school friends, a lot of Tottenham supporters. Having the rivalry, getting a lot of stick, but giving a lot of stick out. That's a dream come true, and I only lived 2-3 miles from White Hart Lane, so that was a dream come true.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's been all our dreams. I think to make an Arsenal debut against Tottenham, just scoring a goal or anything you can pop it with, isn't it? Really, I suppose if you'd scored,
I would have loved to have done that.
Yeah, no, we'd have all loved it as well. What do you think the best goal you ever scored was in your career?
I think the one for Brentford against Southampton in the FA Cup.
Yeah, I've seen a clip of that.
Yeah. We were in League One. We were 2 down after 10 minutes against Harry Redknapp's Southampton side. They had Peter Crouch, Kevin Phillips, Henri Camara, Graham So, Bernard at left back. They had a real strong side. Playing away at St Mary's, you think Premiership side should wipe the floor with a League One side.
Yeah,
far from it. We should have won the game. If you get a chance to look at the clip, we were under pressure. We broke up the Southampton attack. I was playing out on the left wing. I've made a run inside the fullback, dribbled, inside the box past 2 players and put it in the bottom corner. I think just because of the occasion and the FA Cup, you know, you dream of scoring goals in the FA Cup or stuff like that. Not so much these days where teams play weakened sides or whatever, but the FA Cup still means a lot to me.
Didn't you draw that game? Was that right?
Yeah, we drew 2-2.
How did you get on in the replay? Did they beat you?
Yeah, they beat us 3-1 in the replay.
That was a shame, wasn't it? That was a shame. Who do you think was the biggest influence on your career then?
My family. My family, without shadow of doubt. Took me everywhere, gave me confidence when I was down. I was in the football circle. I knew about it because my uncle's best friend was Des Walker.
Oh, right, yeah.
So, you know, whenever either Nottingham Forest were playing in London or against Arsenal, Tottenham, whatever, I would always go to the games. Des Walker would get my family tickets, and I would hear stories. He got rejected by Tottenham and he bounced back and went to Nottingham Forest. So, yeah, my family without shadow of doubt.
Well, excellent. I mean, that's always tends to be the case, doesn't it? In a lot of times. And finally, who was your toughest opponent that you played against?
There's been a few. Growing up, same age, Rio Ferdinand, while he was at West Ham. He was tough. Played against Jonathan Woodgate while he was at Leeds. Tough. And last one, I think we played a behind closed doors match against Liverpool for Steve McManaman's comeback game. I think he was out injured for a while, and Steven Gerrard played, and he played at the back and didn't get a kick.
Wow. But that was a good experience. Actually, I remember talking about stuff like I remember going back a long time now when you're still at Arsenal. I think it was Nigel Winterburn's testimonial against Rangers. I think you came on in that game, didn't you?
Yeah, I came on in that game.
Rangers had a big crowd there, didn't they, as well, at the clock end, didn't they?
Yeah, it was unbelievable. Come on, Highbury was packed. Play against Ali McCoist and people like that. It was unreal.
Yeah, I can remember that game. Yeah, that was quite lively. It was with the Rangers fans.
Tackles flowing in. Yeah, so it was good for atmosphere.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I mean, considering it was a friendly, it was a great game actually. I think we won 3-1, didn't we, in the end?
Yeah,
might have been 3-2 possibly. It says there's a question there for Mark. He says, do you still visit the Emirates, or now you're in Leeds, do you tend to follow Leeds more?
No, I my family have got 2 season tickets at Arsenal. So when I'm down, I'll try and go to most games, or I go to the away games because I'm not far really. I've been to Old Trafford, Burnley, so it's not far for me.
Yeah. But what do you make of it now then, sort of modern football? I mean, I was going to sort of ask you about this anyway. I mean, obviously you stopped playing about 10 years ago, didn't you? What do you sort of make of the modern game now with VAR and all this playing out from the back and stuff like that? I mean, what do you make of it all now?
It's changed. Everyone's trying to play out from the back, but some teams can do it, some can't. You've just got to play to your strengths. It's what suits. You've got to buy the players that can play out from the back. You know, it's hard. It's a risk, but when you get it right, it looks amazing. But with the VAR stuff, it's a nightmare. Can't celebrate goals. His fingernails offside. I don't like it. I don't really like it.
What do you think you'd have made of it if you was playing now then with all of that going on?
Well, back then you could get away with a few things. Now you can't get away with nothing. You can't get away with nothing. There's so many different camera angles, social media, people analysing the games from all different angles. It's hard. It's hard. You've got to be clean. and technically very good now.
I mean, obviously, in terms of the offside, obviously, you played up sort of in forward positions. I mean, that would have been more difficult for you, wouldn't it? I suppose with the VAR now, the way it is, having to time your runs to almost perfection, haven't you? You couldn't even be a millimetre offside now, can you?
Yeah, no, well, are you onside if you're level? Or yeah, the rules got to change. It's so hard, but it seems to be working because there's been lots of goals.
Yeah, well, I suppose it is working. Yeah, certainly this season, at the start of the season, there hasn't been a goalless draw yet, has there? So it shows that it's creating more goals. But I suppose it's just how it's changed, really, isn't it? It's almost a different game in a lot of ways, isn't it, to what it was, even probably when you were still playing, and that wasn't even that long ago, really.
No, but it's even the tactical side of it. It's where teams are dropping into a low block and counter-attacking out of that, or teams are full press. Everyone's pressing all over the field, like a Liverpool, like a Man City. It's just different tactics. It's enjoyable to see people trying to play different ways.
Yeah. I mean, I've got another question here from Andrew. He says, do you keep in touch with any of your former teammates at Arsenal?
Yeah, I speak to Stephen Hughes all the time.
Yeah, I remember Stephen Hughes. Yeah, he's a good lad.
Yeah,
What's he doing now? Is he coaching as well? Is he?
Hughesy does the Arsenal TV. He does the studio stuff and the commentary for Arsenal.
Oh, he does. Yeah.
So I speak to Hughesy. We've known each other since 12, 13. So and we played in the same team. So we're quite close.
There's another question here from Andrew. He said did you play with Adrian Clark as well? You must have done. He must have been about the same time.
Yes, I played with Clarkey. Clarkey was a few years, maybe 2 or 3 years older than me, but I played with him when I broke into the reserve team.
Because obviously he does a lot of stuff on the Arsenal TV as well, doesn't he? With the commentary and the analysis of the games and all that kind of stuff, doesn't he?
Yeah. So Clarkey and Hughesy do that together.
Yeah. There's another little comment here. Stephen says, have you got a funny story? He said.
Well, about Arsenal or any?
Probably just about your time in football, maybe. I mean, must have been loads of stuff that's gone on.
Yeah. Well, one of the stories was I was at Barnsley under Nigel Spackman, and he didn't like confrontation, so he wouldn't name the team. So we got to a ground once, so we were all on the pitch, as you just looking at the pitch, walking around the pitch, and he was going around every player. You're starting, and then it got to me, and he went, "You're starting on the bench," and I was just like, "Oh, cheers." And if you can see the Bradford City, the year we went up from the Championship to the Premier League, the celebrations, the best celebrations ever, and you see Stuart McCall standing on the top of a car, drinking, having a pint, and he falls off the car, but don't drop a drink. He don't drop a drip of his pint. So things like that. I've seen loads of good things.
No, I can imagine. Yeah, and someone's put a comment here about you must have seen some good banter with Wrighty and Parler at Arsenal.
Well, yeah. When you're a young lad and you're on the team coach or in and around you're quiet, but you can always hear those two. You can always hear Wrighty and Ray, always making jokes, making fun. Normally, they were taking the piss out of Martin Keown.
I hopefully he didn't hear though, because he was a bit of a lively one himself, wasn't he, Keown?
Yeah, no, I'm sure he used to wear studs in training all the time, so he emotionally give him a kick in training.
Yeah, there's a couple of stories where he used to kick Dennis Burkham quite a bit, didn't he, at one time, I think?
he used to kick everyone.
Did he?
He just used to play. He used to train how he played, which was good. So you knew what you was going to get.
Yeah. So was you there at the time with Martin Keown? Did you was you at Arsenal with him?
Yeah. It was just around the same time.
Oh yeah, because he came back about '93, didn't he? Yeah.
Yeah. So Martin was there. Right. It was Patrick. I was there when Patrick Vieira first came. Arsene Wenger wasn't there. Patrick came to train with the reserves. Didn't move, just emotionally looking at us, thinking, "What is going on here?" And then all of a sudden, he made his debut, and I thought, "Wow, what a player!"
Yeah, we all did.
Yeah.
I mean, did you see at that time, obviously, that what Arsene Wenger was building? Could you see how great that team was going to be from training with them?
Yes, the sports science, how he got people to listen to him. The diets changed, the training changed. So, just for example, we was away on tour. The over 30s, Seaman, Adams, Bowl, Dixon, Winterburn would only train once. During the day. The rest of the boys would train twice or three times. So he was looking after the older boys, and in return, during the season, those players would give him everything.
And obviously, I suppose that helped to extend their careers a bit more as well. Then I'm assuming, because they went on for quite a long while, didn't they? When it looked like their career was coming to an end, really.
Yeah. So if you hear any of the players, the older players, speak about Arsene Wenger, how he prolonged their career and how he made them change the way they're thinking. Obviously, the social scene changed, where the players were going out boozing and whatever, but they slowed it down a bit. They didn't stop, but they slowed it down a bit and listened to Arsene Wenger a bit more.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you'd have still been at Arsenal when Tony Adams kind of came out with being an alcoholic. I mean, was you aware of that at the time before?
I wasn't aware of it, but I was there the day he held the meeting with the players and the staff. It was like a sad day to see Tony like that. I think it was sad for everyone in the club. He'd been at the club. He's the captain. To see him like that, so it's not a nice thing.
No, and of course before that was obviously all that stuff with Paul Merson as well, wasn't it? When he came out with that emotional press conference, you'd have been at the club then as well, wouldn't you? Still?
Yeah, I was there while Paul did that. It was great. Once he came back to the club and he had got the help that he needed. He came and trained with the reserves, and just watching Merce play, his right foot was a wand. If you want to just make a run and you just clip it with the outside of his foot and it would just land just in front of you. And, even when Merce was Walsall manager before the game, we played against them, I went over to him and just shook his hand and asked him if it was all right. And he was just, it was good.
Yeah, no, it's been good to see because obviously he was one that Harry's heroes, wasn't he? And he'd had a few problems in there, but you could see he'd come through it a lot stronger, really, I think. And that was great to see as well, wasn't it? Because he's obviously had his issues, hasn't he, unfortunately?
Yeah. It's evident that a lot of players, once they stop playing, they have issues. And I just hope everyone talks about it and gets the help they need and moves on.
Yeah, obviously, Tony Adams himself has set up a charity, hasn't he, to help with sort of players that are having a few issues off the pitch as well, which is really good as well, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I think it's the Sporting Chance Clinic.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Tony set that up, and not just for football players, for all sports, which is good.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Got another question here from Russ. He says, "Who's your footballing idol?"
Easy, There's two. First, David Rocastle,
Yeah.
and then Ian Wright.
Well, you can't get much better than that. I mean, Wright,
Yeah.
he's an absolute legend, isn't he?
Yeah, absolute legend. Just to be able to see him train with him on a Thursday. The forward players used to go and do finishing with Bob Wilson, Dave Seaman, Vince Bartram, and just to be in the queue waiting to have your shot. You look around, there's Wrighty one side, there's Burkham the other side. It's surreal.
Yeah, wow, must have been great. Mark, he was saying, have you been reading Arsene Wenger's book?
No, that's a book that I'm going to buy. I'm going to get it maybe at the weekend.
Yeah, I've sort of started it. I got it sort of last week. I haven't had a lot of chance to read much of it yet. I'm about sort of 4 or 5 chapters in. It's really good so far. I haven't got to the part when he's joined Arsenal yet, so I'm still looking forward to that. But I mean, he must have been a great manager to have worked under as well, mustn't he?
Yeah, it was tough, but softly spoken. It was something new when you hear stories about it where he would come in at half time and wouldn't speak for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And let the players speak about it, discuss it, and then he would speak for 5 minutes, and then that would be it. Whereas I'd been on loan to Colchester, where the manager would talk for the whole 15 minutes, shouting and bawling and throwing teacups everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, I think George Graham was probably a bit like that sometimes as well, wasn't he?
Yeah, but obviously I wasn't in the first team or around the first team under George Graham and Stuart Houston, but people like Pat Rice, Terry Murphy were unbelievable for me also.
Yeah, no, I mean, great. Obviously, Arsenal as a club, like you said before, because of the opportunities that they give to young players, it is probably a great club to be at as a young player coming through, isn't it? With what they teach you and what they give you for the rest of your career. Even if, like with yourself, if you don't stay at Arsenal, it's still something that stays with you forever, isn't it?
Yeah, it's unbelievable the foundations that you have and the character that they instill in you. Remember who you are and who you represent. It's you're always representing the club and your family, and to go on to, if you don't make it at Arsenal, you've seen loads and loads of young players go to other clubs and have a career, which is good. And it's even better now that they've got Hale End.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's obviously produced a lot of great players, hasn't it, as well? That's all coming through at the same time now. I mean, can you imagine if you was a young player at Arsenal now? It must be really exciting, mustn't it?
Oh, it's you can see a clear pathway. You can see a clear pathway for young players. Once you get to 18 or 17 and you're good enough, you'll get a chance. And you can see the clear pathway. And that's the Arsenal way.
Yeah, so obviously with all the young guys that you're kind of coaching now, I mean, I suppose you'd be pushing them to try to get into Arsenal, would you, out of all the other clubs?
Sometimes is it best to go to a big club, or is it best to go to a club that's maybe just below Arsenal's the top clubs? It's down to the boy, really. If the boy believes in his ability and he sees a pathway that he can break into, go for that. Or I've had friends where I played with in the England youth setup, Richard Wright, who ended up coming to Arsenal from Ipswich. Nigel Quasi had offers of many clubs, but stayed at QPR. So it depends what's right for your development.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you must have been pleased that you stayed with Arsenal then through that period.
Yeah, it's one of the hardest things to to do, if to stay at a club like Arsenal, not a team that's yo-yoing up and down the leagues, a top club, to make it through the academy, break into the youth team, play in the first team, and then go on to make a career after that. So many boys lose interest or fall away and don't get to do or have the opportunities that I did.
Yeah, I mean, I actually had Mark Flats on this show a few weeks back, and he kind of obviously left Arsenal, and his career never quite sort of took off after that, did it? I thought a few injuries he had and whatnot. I mean, do you know Mark? Yeah.
Yeah, I know Flatsy. It's funny enough. I knew Flatsy from before. He started at Enfield Rangers, I think. And that was one of the Sunday sides. That's one of the first Sunday sides I joined, where Flatsy was. Yeah, and I speak to him now and again on social media platforms.
Yeah. So it's a shame his career never quite took off, did it, after Arsenal, really? But like you said, it's difficult, isn't it? Sometimes,
It's so difficult. Once you get used to your surroundings, everyone knows what makes you tick. And then you go to another club and you're just another body. They don't really care. Do you play? Can you play? Are you playing good? If you're not playing good, next player comes in and takes your spot. They don't really, there's no respect, or your reputation just goes out the window.
Yeah. I mean, did you find that obviously when you play for some of these other clubs, sort of in the sort of lower divisions, did you find that obviously having come from Arsenal, did you get respect for that, or was it not really? Did it not really work like that?
No, some places yes, and some places no, because then there's boys that have been released by Liverpool, Man United, all over. So boys are all trying to fight for the same positions, come from the same clubs, or so they're all fighting for. We're all fighting to play in the team.
Yeah. I guess so. Yeah. Some of Russ has put another question here. He says, "What was the difference in the meals at training when Arsene Wenger came in? So what you'd been used to maybe prior to that?"
We would have before.
Apart from the Mars bars, you've been talking about Mars bars recently.
Yeah.
Arsene Wenger.
Well, we could eat what we wanted, fish and chips, whatever. And then Arsene Wenger came in, boiled chicken, pasta, veg. One type of pasta sauce, no ketchup, wasn't allowed ketchup. Water on the tables, wasn't allowed squash, things like that. Everything changed. And
I bet some of the older players probably found that more difficult, did they, to cope with?
Yeah, they were always complaining. It was like before we had our pre-match, we would have a meeting about the team and go through stretches and whatever. And then before the pre-match came out, there was carrots and celery on the table with dip. And the boys were like looking at what's this?
I can imagine Wrighty probably wasn't very happy.
I think the majority of the boys most probably ate before and then had a little something while at pre-match and then just went on to the game.
Yeah, I would expect so, yeah. Mark's asking, what level is it that you're coaching at?
So I've got my UEFA B license coaching badge. I coach at a private academy. We go and play against pro academies, Leeds, Sheffield Wednesday, Sheffield United, anyone really. So we've got some good boys that have been released by clubs like at young ages from maybe 8 to 16, and we try and help them get back into the game, get back into the pro clubs.
That must be very rewarding then when it comes off, is it, when they get taken on? Is anyone sort of big that you've had go through there? Some like people that are now playing in the Premier League or anything like that?
No, we had a few boys sign at Hull. A few signed at Leeds, but none of them yet have broke and made it to the big time yet.
But there's still time, I guess, isn't there, for them to do it?
There's still time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's been an absolute pleasure chatting to you tonight. Absolutely brilliant. I mean, learning a bit more about your career after Arsenal as well. Sometimes as Arsenal fans, obviously, while the players at Arsenal, we know a lot about them, but once they leave, sometimes, especially yourself, because it wasn't like you didn't stay around the Premier League very much after that, did you? After Bradford, so I think it would have been a lot of Arsenal fans might have lost a little bit of track of what happened to you. So it's great for you to come on and go over exactly what happened in your career, really, which was great, and some great stories as well. Fantastic stuff. I mean, so is there anything that you want to kind of add to it, really, now, or have you pretty much gone over everything?
No, I just think we've gone over everything, and Arsenal as a club's changing, but people like Pat Rice, Liam Brady, they will always be in Arsenal's hearts, and it's important to keep some of the legends at the club.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I suppose in a sense now, obviously, Mikel Arteta coming back as the coach, obviously he played for the club before, but I think it's right what you said. People that's come through the whole system, haven't they? Like you said, like Brady and Pat Rice now, who came through the Arsenal system, like yourself and stuff like that. They're the people that need to be involved as well, don't they? Because they understand what it's all about, really, don't they? What the club, the values of the club, really. Because I think Arsenal is one of the only clubs left at the top level, really, that's still got a lot of those values, haven't they, from previous time, if you like, maybe that's been left behind a little bit now.
Yeah. It's when different managers come in, they want their own people, and slowly values of the club sort of like drift away. But now it seems to be coming back with all the ex-players coming in, and you can see how people are speaking about Arsenal again. Fingers crossed we get back to where we belong.
Yeah, hopefully. I think we're on the way. I mean, in terms of sort of the young players currently sort of in the squad, which one are you most excited about?
I like Saka, but I like Eddie. I like Eddie a lot. It's hard to come in as a young striker. It's hard. And what he's done, the goals that he's got, the way he plays, it's really good. I was hoping a bit more from Reece Nelson, but maybe it takes time. Joe Willock, those sort of boys. And I just hope there's loads more boys coming through.
Yeah, I mean, Eddie's goal scoring record for the England under-21s is incredible, isn't it?
It's unbelievable. So, he came up to Leeds, didn't play much, but still scored. Yeah. And then went back to Arsenal, got in the team straight away and just continued. So those sort of things, what Eddie does, the goal scoring positions he takes up, to score the goals that he does, it's just instinct. It can't be taught. So someone like that, I just hope Arsenal keep hold of him, and he's at Arsenal for a long time, scoring a lot of goals.
Yeah. Did you see much of him play at Leeds then?
I saw a few games, but up here, the manager didn't like to change it too much. He always stuck with Bamford, and Eddie would come on in the last 15, 20 minutes and try and nick a goal, which he did a couple of times. So
yeah,
it's just as you say, and I said before, certain managers suit certain players, and that's the way it is.
Yeah. It seems maybe Mikel Arteta maybe suits Eddie because he seems to be really bringing him on, doesn't he?
Yeah, he will always play him, or he's always in the squad, or he gets on last 10, 15 minutes. He has the trust and the belief of the manager, so that can only help Eddie's confidence.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Just another question here from Russ again. What was it like being around Dennis Burkham? That must have been unbelievable, mustn't it?
It's unbelievable. You know, there's players that you look at and you're in training, you're in the session, and you just can't believe some of the things that he does with a football.
Yeah.
You know, there was Dennis, and then you had Mark Overmars, Patrick, Petit. The list goes on. The sessions, I think at times, the sessions bypassed me, where I was just looking at all these world-class players thinking, wow, the touch, the play. And you, before you know it, Arsene Wenger's blowing the whistle and the session's over. And you think, I've only touched the ball 5 times.
Was Dennis probably the best player that you've played with, do you think?
For his vision, for what he can do, what he did with the football. But I loved Ian Wright. What he done, his finishing, his hunger, the way he applied himself to games, every game, hungry to score goals, celebrated goals in training, celebrated goals in just finishing sessions, in matches. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, do you still see him right at all now? I know he's busy, isn't he? Doing his
No,
own thing.
I haven't seen anyone apart from Stephen Hughes, and spoke to Mark Flats really, and Paul Reed, who was at Arsenal.
Yeah,
and a few of the younger the boys in the youth team at my time. We were on about getting together and having a bite to eat.
oh, you should maybe start up a 5-a-side team or something like that. That'd be good.
Yeah,
I bet you could still. I bet you could still score a few goals, couldn't you?
well, you try. Maybe in the walking football now.
Yeah, walking football. That's next, isn't it? That's what comes next. Brilliant. Oh, I say it's been an absolute pleasure chatting to you tonight. Really, thanks for coming on the channel. I say it's been great to chat to you and find out about your career and obviously your time at Arsenal, and I know some great stories as well from some of the players and stuff like that, which we all know. So I mean, say just really, really great to have you on. For everyone out there, thanks for people in the chat as well. Let's ask some questions. There's someone who seems to think that they know you, actually keeps popping up. Is it, what's this? Malakazi? Don't know what that's about.
Not sure.
No, I'm not sure either, but anyway, he seems to think he might know you, but anyway. But there you go. But yes, I say thanks for coming on. I've been absolutely enjoyed it. It's been great. Maybe you know, if you're free later on in the season, maybe come back on and we can talk about how the season's going for Arsenal and, you know, other bits and pieces. 'Cause obviously, you know, there's a lot of changes going on at Arsenal at the moment, isn't there? I know there was a few changes when you was there, but probably even more so now with everything that's happening. So and obviously things are looking a lot brighter, as you said. You know, I mean, where do you think we might finish this season in top 4? Is that what you're thinking?
I hope top 4. I hope top 4. Maybe try and sign some more players, 1 or 2 in the January transfer window, and then push on again. Because if we win the Europa League again, it's going to be hard to attract the type of players that we need.
Yeah, I mean, do you not feel this season it's a little bit more open, isn't it? Or it seems to be at the moment, with anybody's beating anybody and all the top teams are dropping points, and you know, it looks quite an open season, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's going to be an open season with no fans in the ground.
Yeah, some
freak results. 6-1 Spurs beat United. Villa beat Liverpool. So we don't know what's going to happen. Arsenal just got to stick in there and start picking up some results, and maybe start beating some of the top 6 sides.
Yeah, we just don't seem to be scoring quite enough goals, do we? At the moment, we're not creating enough, are we? I don't think in any of the games so far.
No, yeah, and some of the games, it seems we take our foot off the pedal and try to just control the game and see it out, instead of really taking teams to the sword and going after them and scoring 2s, 3s, 4s, whatever, and then you put the game to bed by doing it that way. But who knows? As you saw yesterday, even three goals up is not enough.
No, well, it's not if you're Tottenham. I mean, to be honest, we've got some great attacking players, haven't we? I mean, our front three, whatever three we choose, it's as good a front three as pretty much most in the league, isn't it? But yet, for some reason, it's not quite working in the attacking side of the team, is it? Whether it's because we've concentrated more on stopping the goals going in, which was important, I guess, as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's important. Whereas I think we've stopped conceding silly goals or conceding, them type. But then the hardest thing in football is to score, to create chances and score. And maybe with one extra addition, a creative player apart from Ozil, or if we can get Ozil back, that might help us unlock defences.
Do you think Ozil will play again or not? Do you think he's got any time left at Arsenal now? Or do you think he'll just see his contracts out?
No, Arteta. When's the last game he played?
It was March, wasn't it, against West Ham? That was it.
Yeah, I think he's done. I hope not, but I think we won't see him again. No,
it's not looking that way, is it? Which is a shame, really, because I still think he's got something to offer, hasn't he? As a player.
Yeah, in certain games, where we're looking solid at the back, and then we can take a risk by having him on, where he will unlock a defense, where he will see that pass. Some games you might need a player like him to come on to change the game.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, especially at home, I think some of the home games we've struggled, haven't we, to break teams down, and he may have made a difference. I don't know why he's not getting an opportunity, but I guess something's going on that we perhaps don't know about, But yeah, I agree. I don't think he's going to play for us again, unfortunately. It's a shame it's ended like that, really, because he's been a great player, hasn't he, over the years of his career, and certainly his early time at Arsenal, he was brilliant, wasn't he?
No, he was really good. Unbelievable vision, technique, saw a pass, linked the play. But now, whereas you saw the creative players like De Bruyne, they still put in a shift. They still track and tackle. And, we got one or two games where Ozil was doing that. But can he sustain it and do it for maybe 10 games? Maybe not. Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure if it's just literally about his playing. I don't know if that's the reason why he's not getting picked. If it's to do with the football side, I don't know if there's other stuff that's gone on maybe as well behind the scenes. It seems to be possible. I don't know, because
in every club there's politics. Every club there's politics. So we don't know. The fans will never know. Maybe when he decides to leave at the end of the season, he might say.
Or maybe when he releases a book.
Yeah.
Maybe that should be your next move. Maybe write a book of your career. That could be quite a good story to tell.
I don't know about that.
Well, yes, it's always. I mean, to be honest, I've got a lot of footballers' stories and stuff. I just think it's fascinating because it's the sort of world that all of us have always dreamed of being a part of. Particularly obviously at Arsenal in particular. But I mean, just having a career as a professional footballer is the dream for everybody else, isn't it? So to have experienced that yourself, it's definitely a lot of people out there be interested in your story. I think anyway.
Yeah, it's a dream, and people see the glitz and the glamour, the playing side of it. But as we just mentioned, the politics behind certain things, certain scenarios, when you're not playing, the club are trying to sell you. It's not always so glamorous.
No, it isn't, and I suppose a lot of people don't see that side of it, do they? From the outside, I suppose it's It's like anything, really, isn't it? I mean, have you got any sort of regrets in your career, really, that you maybe things didn't quite work out that you hoped they would? I suppose maybe having to leave Arsenal, probably.
Having to leave Arsenal it's not a regret. You had to do it, but I think continuing the things that got me to the level I did at Arsenal, having maybe took my foot off the gas and not where I should have gone up another level and practiced and trained harder, and instead of maybe got into a comfort zone.
Yeah, I suppose it must be difficult though when you leave a big club like Arsenal, especially obviously a club that you supported as well. It must be difficult to stay motivated after that, mustn't it? When everywhere's down from there, isn't it? Really, I guess wherever you go.
Yeah, it was hard, but you still want to do it for yourself. As you can see, I had good times where I enjoyed my football. Sometimes I didn't, but when you look back, and I must have went into my garage the other day and saw shirts, teams that I played for, medals, and you look back and think, yeah, I did okay. I've done okay. So I'm happy with that.
Well, you did a lot better than most of us ever get the opportunity to do. So yeah, that's something, isn't it? And you know, just making even just one appearance for Arsenal is a dream, isn't it? That we'd all have loved to have, especially against Tottenham as well. I mean, well, I think we'd all have loved to have done that, when we just once. I still think one day, I still get a bad dreaming one day I still might get a call up, you know, to play one day. Probably be walking football, like you said. That might be where I'll end up.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming on. Anyway, it's been brilliant chatting to you. Real pleasure. Say thanks to everyone in the chat as well for the questions and getting involved. It's been really good. I say, you know, I'll have to get you back on again later on in the season, maybe when how things are going, maybe towards the end, and whether or not we are getting in the top four, like we said, or maybe even better. You never know, because it's so open this year. You know, we've as good a chance as anyone at this moment, haven't we?
I'd like to say thanks for having me on. It'll be a pleasure to come back during the season, maybe talk about a few games, and if you do a watch along and things like that. Thanks for having me.
No, it's been absolutely perfect. So you're welcome back anytime. I mean, we do quite a few watch-alongs now. I've started doing them. I did one for the Man City game, and I'll be doing a few more as the season goes on as well. So, and every week we do a podcast as well, where we chat about the games coming up and the games we've just played and stuff like that. So you're more than welcome to come on that as well. It'd be great to have you on. I'm sure there'll be a lot of other guys would love to have a chat to you as well. So, but we can talk about that later anyway and get you back on. Be great. But thanks for having me. No, brother, that's been a pleasure. And no worries. Cheers. Thanks for everyone for watching as well. Obviously, thanks to Isaiah there for his time tonight. Thanks for all you guys as well for watching. Please give this video a thumbs up if you haven't done so already, and please subscribe to the channel as well. Loads of good stuff coming up this week, as we've got obviously the Europa League starting on Thursday, haven't we? Against Rapid Vienna, and an even bigger game on Sunday in the Premier League now against Leicester, where hopefully we can bounce back from the Man City game. I think that's a big game now. We need to win. Just quickly before you go, Isaiah, what would you think the score might be for the Leicester game? It's a big game now, isn't it?
I've just seen today that their centre-half's out injured for 3-4 weeks, I think. Big Turkish centre-half.
Oh, yeah. Soyuncu, yeah.
So I've heard he's out. Hopefully 3-2 Arsenal.
Wow. Okay, that'll do. I'll 1-0.
I'll take that.
I mean, they haven't got a particularly good record at our ground anyway over the years, Leicester, and that's maybe in our favour a little bit. And they've lost their last two as well, so we never know. But I think it's obviously going to be a tough game. They're a good side, aren't they? So, but we'll see what happens there. Just a couple of people there just saying, obviously, thanks for coming on, Jonathan there, and Russ as well. Which is great. So yeah, brilliant. I say thanks a lot for your time, and I say we'll be in touch again, get you back on again. I say any time at all will be fantastic. I say thanks everyone for watching. Yeah, no worries at all. And it's been a pleasure, and I will speak to you guys again soon. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you later on.
Cheers,